Is everybody ready? So first off, appreciate everybody that came out. It was a beautiful day. With us being as limited as we were, I know we were open about that in the social media. I was concerned folks might not come out. We did as much as we could do safely. You could tell really quickly that we're short on tight ends. We didn't have any tight ends with the ones. We're only down to one scholarship back. Razul was gone to a funeral, and so we didn't have him. But I thought everybody did a really good job. I let Coach Cefalo call the offense and get some experience there, and I just really focused on trying to make sure we got out safely and had a good, clean, fun day for the fans, and I think we got that done. So in that sense, today was a success. I think spring was a success as well. We've gotten better, I think, at every position. From this time last year to now, it's a better football team. We're not done by any means, but I feel like we've added value in every room through recruiting. Guys have developed. A lot of guys are playing, better ball than this time last year, and so I feel like it's putting us in a good position going into the summer to continue to grow. Maybe add a few pieces through recruiting, but the focus is going into fall camp, as competitively as we possibly can. And I think we've given ourselves a chance to do that. What do you got?
A lot of guys seem, banged up. It's not a huge number compared to other years, but most of those just kind of banged up. Nothing long-term for any of those guys?
The only long-term injury we're a little worried about, E.J. Fisk ended up having to have a shoulder surgery this past week. That could bleed into the season. Beyond that, everybody that wasn't going today should be fine for summer workouts, should be fine for fall camp, barring anything else. But it was strange, a lot of injuries at one position or the other, and it just made it really, really tough to have what we consider a safe, normal, live scrimmage. So that's why we made the adjustment.
When you, with a couple guys departing, are you going to obviously have to be a little bit more active in the transfer portal in the summer than maybe you were planning on?
I think a little bit. I mean, we really only had 3 guys leave that we didn't expect to leave. We did not expect to see McKay leave, and that's the nature of quarterbacks. He wanted to be the starter, and when we named Spence the starter last week, we knew that was going to bring about some conversations. Felt like Coop might choose to leave. He's only got 1 year left. We're going to try to help him find a place to go play and get on the field, and we've been very open about that. I didn't expect McKay to leave. I understand why he did, but we didn't expect Paul Fitzgerald to leave and end up at Utah, and obviously nobody expected Donovan Booth to leave, but under the circumstances and how he was enticed to leave, there was very little we could do. Beyond that, anybody that our fan base sees in the portal are guys that we're trying to help get on the field. They're buried in the depth chart. Our roster is better than it was a year ago. Those are guys that don't want to be 3s or 4s, and every single guy, with the exception of those 3, are guys we're going to actively try to help find homes where they could play at either other Group of 5 schools or maybe even 1AA if need be, or Division II. So in that sense, we kind of prepared for this. We're not going to go crazy. We like our roster. We will try to add some help in a few key positions, but really like the locker room that we have and the group that we're building with right now.
Do you like the spring transfer window?
I like that it's shorter than the one in January. I'll probably strategically be a little different with spring ball this time next year. We'll finish probably at least a week earlier so that we can have a lot of these conversations. There's guys that are in the portal that would have finished spring ball with us, and I understand why they didn't. They need to go start finding a home. I could probably do a better job. It is what it is. It's a messed up system that is broken, and so you just got to figure out how to handle it the best you can. And so in that sense, I like that it's only 2 weeks instead of a month, and so we can at least know going into May what our team does and doesn't look like.
You said you named Spencer the starting quarterback. Kind of what led into that? How did he stand out to eventually earn that job?
We tried to make sure, out of respect for all that Coop's done here since he got here and the career he's had, I wanted to make sure that it was very obvious to everybody that Spence won the job. So they got equal reps with the 1s. Both got limited reps with the 2s, and over the course of 3.5, 4 weeks, the numbers and just the eye test all showed that Spence's consistency. He turned the ball over 1 time through 13 practices, completed somewhere around 78-80% of his passes, made good checks, good decisions, and he had to clearly win the job. And as much as I love Coop and as all the things he's done here, you've got to basically 6th, 7th-year-old, professional in the room, and it shows. And he's made our team better. That is not a knock at Coop at all. He battled, and it was much closer than you might think. But at the end of the day, I felt like for our team to go into the summer, they needed to know who the clear guy was. It was what was fair for Coop, what was best for our team, so that Cooper could make a good decision. And I think it was a hard decision. But ultimately, he wants to play, and he knows, he's going to try to find a place to do that, even if he needs to drop down, and we're going to actively help him try to find that. It was a competition on the field every day. And I think if you ask any of our players, as much as they love Coop, they feel like that Spence obviously earned the job and earned their respect. And he did it in a very classy way.
Coach Anderson, I ask a similar question every spring, but who are some of the guys besides obviously Spencer who have really elevated their stock throughout spring camp?
Well, I thought on offense, I thought Grant Page and Robert Briggs had great springs. We already knew what Jalen and some of those other guys could do, but I thought those guys had great springs. I think our offensive line collectively is so much better than we were this time last year. The additions of some of those guys have helped, but just watching the young guys like Teague and Maui, some of those guys, and even like a junior Sia, we're getting good two-deep work, competitive work in there, and the confidence level is going through the roof. Offensively, I think Bryson has come light years from day one to now. This is a completely different style of offense for him, and you can see today he's getting better and better every week. Defensively, Gabe Iniguez up front, he's the transfer in from New Mexico State, has clearly taken over a leadership role. Sean Dolak has taken over a leadership role. Jordan Vincent, all those guys have stepped in there with both Switz and Ike and really solidified some leadership over there. And I think time will tell who else on defense, but all those guys have made impacts this spring.
On defense, just Coach Dreiling and implementing what he wants to implement. It seemed like when we talked last time, it was coming along, but he wasn't quite implementing everything that he wanted.
Yeah, we took a very slow, kind of a steady process over there. We felt like that was needed, especially with all the transitions we've had. And you go from Ephraim to Joe to now this, 35 new players here in January. So I thought he took a very slow, deliberate approach to install. We're probably not near where they really want to be, but we felt like fundamentals and building relationships was more important. And I do think those things are in a really good place. Now, we got to keep building the pieces, and we're not done recruiting. We need to add some more bodies over there as well, especially up front, and probably could take at least one guy at each position that could help us this fall just to create stability and depth on that defense to help us be competitive.
It puts you in a weird situation because you could honestly not name a starter and keep quarterbacks around thinking they had a shot. But,
Yeah.
Obviously it's not fair to those guys, but selfishly you could do something like that.
Yeah, I just didn't feel like it was fair to Coop especially. Had pretty open conversations with McKay, and I did not think he would leave. I thought he would stay and continue to compete for the number 2 spot in redshirt, but I just wanted to do everything I could to try to be as fair to Coop as I could, and I do think our team needs to know who the leader is going into the summer, and it's clear, who that is, and that gives him the best chance to be the best leader he can be. I could have drug it out. I just didn't think it was the right thing to do, and honestly, we'll figure out how to fill out the room and see where we need to fit pieces in.
So you have to try to go after 2 quarterbacks in the portal?
I don't know that we'll go after 2. We've got a couple really good walk-ons coming in that have both played snaps at the junior college level that I think either one of those guys could be a solid 3 or 4. We're gonna be smart. I love the building and room. I don't want to bring anybody in a kind of speedy, careless way. So if we don't find a guy, we'll make it work like it is. We're gonna be deliberate about it. Anything else? Appreciate everybody coming.